Hi students, welcome back to social studies class. And today we shall discuss about technological and institutional reforms. Right. In the previous class we discussed about various food grains, that is when non-food grains and food grains. We discussed about fiber crops, beverages, horticulture. Okay. Now today class will discuss about technological and institutional reforms. Students, we all know that agriculture is one of the most ancient or primitive activity of our country. We say that our country is a agricultural nation. Agriculture is the backbone of our economy. Since if you see, since before independence, during the British time and all, most of our Indian people, most of the Indians, their main source of livelihood was agriculture or allied activities related to that. Okay. Now, but today, after 70 years of independence, where do we find our agriculture? What is the position of our agriculture? We'll discuss about that. Okay. Now, if you see, since after independence, okay, now 70 years, almost more than 70 years have been completed, but still we don't find much improvement in our agriculture sector. More or less, it is still our agriculture sector is backward in its practice or in its use. Okay. Now, we say that agriculture is an old activity. Okay. It is a primitive activity. Okay. But as per changes, if we compare the agriculture of other countries, agriculture sector of other countries, if you take Russia, Russia was also basically an agricultural nation only, but from agriculture now it has become a very well industrialized nation. But it is not necessary, or it is not that in Russia agriculture practice is not there. It is there, but it has made lot of changes in its, that is various reforms were brought in agriculture sector in Russia. You take countries like USA, Canada, Germany, France. In these countries, lot of changes has come in agriculture sector. We can say directly that in these countries, modernization in agriculture sector has been taken very fast. But in our country, still in many parts of the nation, many states of India, if you go in the backward areas, backward region, still the farmers, they are peasants, they use the old method, primitive method of doing agriculture. That is only the reason that we say, around 60% of the people, they depend on agriculture directly or indirectly. Indirectly means allied activities related to agriculture. Okay. So overall around 60% people depend directly or indirectly on agriculture. But in spite of that, we see the condition of our agriculture sector are not much improved. There are various reasons behind that. After independence, you might have learned in your previous classes that during the British time, when the India was not free, India did not attain freedom, British period, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th century. Okay, what happened? Britishers used to force Indian farmers to grow various cash crops, various industrial crops. Okay, like indigo, cotton, jute, tea, coffee, sugar. So now, and food grains were grown very less because they did not possess much benefit for them. Mostly they wanted such crop which is benefit for the European markets, European industries. That is why they made India a, you can say, raw material, agro based raw material supplying nation. Means agriculture the industries which depend upon agriculture for raw material, such type of industries were set up mostly in European countries, and they made our country as a raw material exporting country, like indigo, opium, and cotton, jute, sugar. These all were under the such type of plantation. Now, after independence, when our country got freedom, we attained freedom, our farmers, when they started doing agriculture of their own choice, there were lot of problems faced during the first one decade, from 47 till almost 1960s. The production was very less. India government used to import food grain from other country to feed the need and requirement of the people of our own country. See, India was an agricultural nation. Then also we used to import food grains. The reason was that the agricultural land were totally ruined because they were forced to grow the cash crops and all. Those crops and all need to require high manures, and they have you can say our fields, the farmers which they doing the crop, the fields has lost their natural fertility. Okay, so the production was not as per the expected, as per the needed. Okay, because of which, because for many years continuously you do cultivation of coffee, jute, indigo and all, and suddenly you come and practice rice and wheat. So we cannot have expected production, because every crop requires certain amount of manure and the fertility of the soil. That is why, because of this, there was a lot of shortage of food grain. But slowly after 1960s, when the technical reforms started taking place in our country, some technical institutions were set up. Like if you take Green Revolution was the main changes which was brought in our country in the year mid 1960s. In mid 1960s, okay, Green Revolution. It was implemented by MS Swaminathan. You might have heard the name, father of Indian Green Revolution, MS Swaminathan. He introduced Green Revolution in India during the mid 1960s. Now, what was Green Revolution? In Green Revolution, various changes have been taken place, both institutional and you can say technical. Both changes have brought in the Indian agriculture. In that, first and the foremost was bringing high yielding variety of seeds, HYV seeds. I hope you are understanding now. So bringing high yielding variety of seeds. After that, irrigation facilities. You know, Britishers, though they developed irrigation facilities, but it was not enough and sufficient for the Green Revolution to use that irrigation facilities, to improve the irrigation facilities. Now, irrigation facilities is nothing but construction of canals, connecting of rivers, bore wells, pump sets, tube wells. This all has to be increased, because before that the Indian farmers were totally depending upon monsoon for irrigation, and we all know that monsoon is uncertain in our country. We cannot predict every time a good or average rainfall. Sometimes it may be over rainfall, flood comes. Sometimes less rainfall, drought comes. So in order to have a good production, continuous good production, continuous growth, we need to have a very good irrigation facilities. For that, canals were made. For example, if you take Indira Gandhi National Canal, which is from river Satluj till Rajasthan, that is the longest canal of our country. Like that, various canals across the country was made. Okay. Now, pump sets were given to the farmers, tube wells were made, bore wells were made. Okay, so all these facilities were made to irrigation. Next, the increase the fertility of the soil. So pesticides, fertilizers were made to protect those food grains from the insect and all. Pesticides, insecticides were developed. Okay, and instead of using bulls and all, it used to take weeks and days. Okay, tractors, combiners, harvesters, seed drillers, all these things were brought into changes so that within less span of time we can complete our agricultural work. We did not depend upon monsoon. Okay, so all these changes were part of the Green Revolution. Okay, and Green Revolution was totally, mostly it was taken into practical all over the nation, but it was not successful in the entire nation because I told you, main is irrigation facility, and our country, if you see the geographical climate and feature of our country, the rain or amount of rain which we get is not equal. Okay, underground water level also differ from state to state. That was the main problem. So mostly the Green Revolution was mostly first practiced on paddy, but it was not much successful. Later it was done on wheat. Wheat was very much successful in the North India, and later with some more changes it was introduced on paddy, and in coastal region and the areas where we have very good irrigation facilities, paddy was also successful because paddy requires more water. It is a kharif crop or monsoon season crop, so it requires more water. Now you see in our country, in the coastal states, in a yearly 2 to 3 times they grow paddy because of availability of water. Okay, so in this way what happened, the changes came, and India after 60s and 70s, 1960s and 70s, instead of importing food, we became self-sufficient and food exporting nation. See the changes. We became food exporting nation, means more and more areas of agriculture were brought into agricultural practice under irrigation, and cropping areas were increased, because of which the production, the food grain production increased decade by decade, and after 60s and 70s, India became a very self-sufficient food country in food grain and started exporting. Okay, now, but there was again one problem. When we are using anything, so especially like Green Revolution and all, we require large area, large land holdings. Okay, now we know that you might have heard about during the British time and all, Jamindari system was there in India, Raitwari system was there in India, Mahalwari system was there in India. Among these Mahalwari and Jamindari, the main problematic was Jamindari system. You may be knowing permanent settlement, which was introduced by Lord Cornwallis. Okay, now under permanent settlement, the farmer has to give the tax or revenue to the Jamindar or the head person who was appointed by the Britishers, and in the case when they were unable to give back, their land were taken, their land were seized, and the record used to be with the Jamindars. So when our country got independent, free, so those land records remained with the Jamindars only, and Jamindars became owner of thousands and thousands of hectares of land. So what happened? You know, Mahatma Gandhi's one aim was that after freedom, this Jamindari system must be abolished. Land Ceiling Act must be implemented, and the excess land from these Jamindars should be divided to the landless farmers. But unfortunately, Mahatma Gandhi could not continue his journey. Okay, and we lost him in the year 1948. But his one disciple, very good disciple of Mahatma Gandhi, a good follower of Mahatma Gandhi, by name known as Vinoba Bhave. Vinoba Bhave. He started a movement known as Bhudan Gramdan. Bhudan, Bhoodan, Bhudan and Gramdan, Gramdan, Gramdan. Now, you may be knowing Bhudan is what? Bhu means Jameen, Dharti. Okay, Dan, giving in gift. Or if you have excess more, you give to someone else who don't have. Okay, Gramdan. Gram means village, Dan means giving. Okay, now we'll discuss about this. Now, Bhudan and Gramdan, it was started by Vinoba Bhave. Vinoba Bhave did Padyatra, that is on foot he walked entire nation, in entire country north to south, east to west. He has been in different places. Now, his journeys, one incident is given, that was in Andhra Pradesh, Pochampalli. In Andhra Pradesh, Pochampalli is a village. Okay, in that village he was addressing the people. Okay, in that village, few farmers, they came forward and they asked him that we are very eagerly waiting to do agriculture. We are very much interested in doing agriculture, but only one thing we are lacking, that we don't have our own permanent land. We wish that if government gives us some piece of land, we can do our agriculture on that. So Vinoba Bhave told that I am not giving guarantee to you that you will be given land, but I will do my level best by which government may provide you land, because government is going to start land ceiling act in our country, and the excess land will be redistributed to the landless farmers. In that meeting only, in that gathering only, there was one person by name Ramchandra Reddy. He himself voluntarily came out on the stage and he told that today I am donating my 80 acres of land, 80 hectares of land to the 80 landless farmers. This was the initiative taken by Ramchandra Reddy. Later it was followed by many people in India who had excess land, and in this way the land was redistributed, because many jamindars, many large land holding farmers, they had a fear of land ceiling act. Okay, so they, before government could seal their land, they themselves started redistributing, and this movement was known as bloodless revolution. It was not a very small and easy thing. It was a very problematic and very big task. But entire nation redistributing the land and all. Okay, now you see, because for one small piece of land, people are fighting. They are killing each other. But at that time, Vinoba Bhave, because of his speech, because of his, you can say, personality, because of his hard work,